Now, I'm not too fussed whether this fight is on right now, whether it's not, what Tyson Fury said, whether he's just farted again. I'll leave that up to the multitude of other boxing channels. But I do want to make the point that this is one of those fights that regardless of recent developments, i.e. losses, this fight should still definitely go ahead. Not just because of how closely associated these names are, how the fight has been teased, how it was supposed to actually be on at one point. And not because we just want to try and push it over the line and get it done, like Mayweather-Pacquiao, otherwise we'll lose our minds. No, we're just still trying to cultivate what was supposed to be, as so many people said 6-7 years ago, a golden heavyweight era. Wow, look at all these young, athletic, trim, big heavyweights. Boy, are good times gonna come. Well, we've only had one of the combinations between who, for so long, were the three top guys, AJ, Wilder and Fury. We at least need the top dudes to have all fought each other. When you see Tyson Fury really beat his chest, talk about how great he is, it's kind of fair play. You are the fighter. You've got to have a healthy ego. But when you see certain people start to buy into it and go, oh, you know what, this guy just is the greatest, they really forget the many layers that come with greatness. Part of the reason Muhammad Ali is seen as the greatest of all time, legitimately at heavyweight, it's kind of between him and Joe Louis, bit of a 1A, 1B situation. It's not just because Ali has the scalps of a Liston and a Foreman and a Frazier, those tremendous fighters. It's everything directly underneath all that meat. The Quarries, the Lyles, the Ernie Shavers RIP, when he was well past his best. He fought everyone. He fought Ken Norton 3 times when he was a stylistic nightmare. That says so much about Ali and just that willingness to get stuck in. Even if Fury went, you know what, just downsize each fight. I want to fight everyone underneath now. He just simply doesn't have the time to do it. But when there's the possibility of not fighting one of the top guys, regardless of whether he's just lost, that is a bit of a problem. We want to see how these things play out regardless of the odds. On the point of Ron Lyle, who fought Muhammad Ali in 1975, he was coming off a loss against Jimmy Young. He'd already had his 0 snatch by Jerry Quarry in 73, so he's going in as a guy who's, supposed to lose. And yes, he did, but he gave the greatest a very tough fight prior to being stopped. And that only added to Ron's stock, as did his loss a little bit later, that amazing slugging match against George Foreman. We want to see what kind of chemistry happens when the bell goes. Case in point, we want to see if it's possible that AJ is a bit of trouble for Fury. Another way to spell out why this would be a big disappointment if the fight never happened is to look at Rocky Marciano and Cuban heavyweight contemporary Nino Valdez. Now, there was a period where those guys could have fought for the title, which of course Marciano had at the time. But because the old mongoose ultimately beat Valdez, it was Archie Moore who fought Marciano in his very last fight. Nonetheless, there does remain kind of a mild curiosity with how the fight would have gone between The Rock and the big Cuban. It's not about whether we thought he really would have lost or not. We just wanted him to tick that box and be a bigger, younger guy, because a lot of the folks he beat for his title and defended against just happened to be a bit smaller, a bit older. We just want to see how he deals with that situation. Well, take that dynamic and magnify it by 100 with AJ and Fury. It might just be that Usyk is a terrible styles matchup for Joshua, that he struggles against those kind of shorter heavyweights like Ruiz as well, And that dude he got stopped by in the amateurs, whatever his name was, big looping shots that had him stopped on his feet. Maybe Joshua would find it a lot easier to land on Fury and hurt him. Unless the fight happens, we won't know for sure. We won't know whether this fight is official unless we've got an official date and location locked in. Is it kind of sad, the fact this fight probably still makes more money than Usyk Fury? Because that's got a bit of a chess match vibe about it. Because, of course, AJ is still a big brand. And if he's excited quite a bit of negative emotion because of his rant, I think that just makes people more likely on their Saturday night, maybe with some mates, to tune in and go, oh, you know what? I want to see Joshua get knocked out. Some people have already joked that this is the perfect time to do a heel turn. But I think people still care. And I think people know deep down that Joshua is still an exciting fighter. He either knocks you out, gets knocked out himself, or at the very least looks a bit vulnerable and gets people pointing their fingers going, haha, I told you he's shit. So let's get that Fury fight on the go. Let's get it on the go while it's still got some meaning. But until it's official, we are just going to be reporting a whole lot of nothing.